Yeah, when I was about 25, I went through an unusual period where I had intrusive thoughts, which I thought would never end. They went on for about 6 months, and they were really like they were calculated thoughts. These were smart thoughts that I was having. I wasn't just having negative thoughts. I was just like, are you kidding me? I'll be tongue-tied, stuck for conversation around this person, that person, the other person. My brain seemed to speak fluent negativity all of a sudden. So that's what struck me about how creative and how selective it was. It wasn't just creativity, it was specifically selective at being nasty to me. You know, I could understand if it was a side effect of creativity, just thinking weird thoughts, shooting all over the place, but it was almost like my own brain had a problem with who I was, and obviously that doesn't make sense because it makes all the decisions for me. It gives me all the thoughts that turn into impulses. And I've never been a spiteful person, so the observation of what I considered to be practiced spitefulness did not go unnoticed. Yeah, I could see something that had practice. In my head, they were clearly creative wordings, and based on the selectivity, appeared to have a very specific message to give me, all based on me being rather crap. Well, eventually I called it out on the basis of its creativity, having not considered my lack of practice in the territory. I hadn't considered it seemed to have been really very well practiced at what it's doing. That hadn't occurred to me. I was just surprised at the relentlessness and the complexities behind the wordings being used. It hinted at aim. It hints at aim. So, how can an intrusive thought have an agenda? Is my question. Yeah. On this channel, we talk a lot about concept systems. It's basically no problem reaction solution. I try and find some weird little technicality, and I throw it out there on the basis that a lot of people who are struggling with psychological growth, you know, with growth spurts, psychologically speaking, or even just a change of character where a fundamental belief deep down has changed. So I'll find no problem reaction solutions to try to even convince you that what you're facing can be seen and it's perfectly natural and fine, and that should create an ease. It should remove the stress, and stress is the type of thing that can keep you locked in almost paranoid, negative mind state. And it's paranoid because you know that there's smoke, but you're looking for the fire, and obviously the fire could be bloody anywhere. So it's nice for some people to say, I think that could be on fire, do you want to check that? You know? Smokeless fires, that's what we're looking for, smokeless fires. I wanted to have a rather strange talk with you. It's on the idea that closest point to danger is safest place from harm. The idea that if there's a dangerous animal around and you can be near that dangerous animal, then you're probably safe from a lot of other different animals. Yeah, so if you can find a way to coexist alongside them, then you're probably quite safe. It's just a weird way of saying that, basically. It doesn't always apply. For example, when you've got a pyramid, any pyramid scheme, any hierarchy, obviously we know that that's a pyramid shape, and the pyramid shape's a triangle, and a triangle is basically an arrow pointing at the seat you probably don't want to be standing in. You know, it's probably quite a dangerous place to be sat at the top of this hierarchy, because you get overthrown, don't you? People want your power, they want what you've got. So I think it's always interesting, because I remember I saw Jordan Maxwell talk years and years ago where he talks about Jesus being called the chief cornerstone, and although I didn't really take anything from the religious side of things, I did understand what he was talking about when he was saying chief cornerstone, which was the last stone that you put on a pyramid, which was also called the finishing touch. And the finishing touch is the kiss of death, which is the scorpion's sting. And I think there must be some like order of hierarchy within the insect kingdom, like scorpions, venomous spiders, etc., etc. And I think that's quite interesting, because that's the way of saying don't go to the top of this arrow, because you'll just get killed by something. It's just written into it, which I think is quite nice. Yeah, I think there's a really great metaphor for facing your fears about the coyote. So apparently when there's a fire, the fire spreads from its epicenter, so it creates a ring, an ever-expanding ring. Yeah, and, all the animals will run off into the water, or they'll get trapped and burnt alive, and just die basically. The coyotes differ in one respect. What they do is they run a certain distance away from the fire, and then they face the fire, and then they run at the fire and through the fire, because they know on the other side of that fire they're going to be safe, because the fire's already eaten all that vegetation, which I think's a really brilliant metaphor for facing your fears. I think that's quite cool. My friend always used to say, I'd never fight a bull, but I'd never run away from one either. No, instead you take the bull by the horns. And there's a joke that came up a little while ago. It's like, no, my bull is called Scissors. I'm chief running bull, and my bull is called Scissors. I'm running with scissors. Quite funny. Yeah, so there's some rather interesting metaphors that are dotted around the place. There's one that's in Buddhism, a Zen koan apparently. A bull runs past a window, you see its head, you see its torso, you don't see its tail. And that's supposed to speak to your subconscious in a way, because apparently the bull doesn't look back. You know, it's a driving force, it's only looking forward, so it doesn't look to its past. And I think that's quite interesting as well. And another friend was telling me about this concept where some cultures, they don't look at the past as being behind them, because they can see the past, they can see what they've done and where they've been and what they're like. It's in front of them, and their future is behind them because they can't see it, which I think is also really nice. So yeah, lots of really fascinating little stories. There's this weird story about a coyote going down a slide, and these lizards are going down this slide basically, and the coyote's like, I want to go down this slide. And the lizards go, you hurt yourself, you'll just end up dying. And he goes, I don't care, I'm going to do it. So he goes down this slide, falls off it, dies, and then the lizards bring him back to life. Yeah, and this roundabout the story, I can't remember what happens after that. Maybe look it up, it's really strange. Yeah. I've seen this film called Major Pain advertised for free on YouTube recently. It's this epic comedy where he's ex-army basically, and he learnt in the army that if someone's got like a broken leg, to take their mind off the pain and break their finger. And so he's babysitting this kid, and this kid feels ill, has hurt himself, and his army sort of like, give me your hand. So that makes me laugh. But it reminded me of this joke. It's like my friend was on one of those wheels, like the London Eye wheels, and he's on a date basically with this girl, and these things take a good half an hour, 45 minutes to go all the way around. And she didn't realise how scared of the height she was till she got to the top of it. She had to sit there for like half an hour, 20 minutes, absolutely it. And I said to him, you should have said to her, oh no, what a shame, the moment you discover you're afraid of heights is the exact same moment you're trapped in one of these carriages with a serial killer. I said, that would have taken her mind off it. So I won't start my career in comedy just yet. Yeah, I hope you enjoy my ramblings.